it's like it's birthed out of something, but it's organic.
That
starts with G.
Yeah.
You do that.
Yeah, so that's the word I was looking for.
Cool, no worries.
So I'm ready when you're...
Alright, sweet as, no worries, cool. Here at the whānau, so here we are with these beautiful people.
Yeah.
Hi.
Who are we? What's your names? Just in case I don't know you by now.
Yep, sure. My name is Joe, but my actual name is Joachim Wanahi, and this is my wife.
And I'm Natasha.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, so we're just here, part of the Memoirs of the Freedom Village Media, and just getting their side of the story. It seems like the media's not doing it, so we're going to do it for them.
Yeah.
That's what puts us into business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the reason why we did decide to go to the protest was that it was very organic. It was drafted out of just people wanting to do something and put their skills towards making sure that the truth was being told, and it didn't really convey some kind of, you know, this is the strategy on how it's going to be done. You know, it was very organic. You know, people were just allowing it to develop over the days. So initially, we didn't actually know too much about it whatsoever. It was my wife that brought it to my attention, and I think it was the day of or the day before.
Probably the day before.
The day before, and that kind of gives you an insight as to like how this just all just turned suddenly into some type of, you know, fierce beast.
Yeah.
You know, it just slowly grew into something huge that eventually it had to be dealt with by the government. But at the starting of that, our role was very simple, was we had a pocket full of people that we love and our friends and within our social circles that we're connected with on social media. So we made the decision that we would go down there on their behalf so that they can see what was eventuating. And so that's what drew us down there, is the organic side of it, but also it was just an opportunity for our friends to know that they were not alone. Because over the past 2 years, the only way that we were really connecting with each other was through social media.
Right.
And this was like the real metaverse. You know, this was the real McCoy, like all these truth seekers were all of a sudden just brought into the same area, and it was just so powerful for us, just in the small things, let alone the huge things that were taking place. Like the small things where people were just walking around and stopping and just talking to strangers. You know, I had strangers stop me that I would never socialize with.
Yeah.
Whether they be elderly people, homeless people, teenagers, whatsoever. I would never just stop to give them the time of the day, but it was like they were thirsty to like just have that kind of authentic connection with people, and it was just so powerful to be in amongst that. What was it like for you, babe?
Oh, it was a total contrast to, you know, like living in Wellington. Everyone's masked up, no one's talking friendly.
Yeah.
So coming into that was like everyone's smiling, everyone's talking. It just felt normal for once. Yeah.
And so we started filming, and then we actually started to enjoy that. And so we made a commitment to ourselves. Well, let's make sure we're there majority of the time, and let's just get ourselves involved in talking to other people using what little resources we had, which was just a cell phone. It was just one phone, and so we used that to the best of our ability. But then we started to experience what you were talking about before, how you were like, you know, being able to you were given resources from other people, and we started to experience that from our own little network. You know, they were saying, hey, we love the fact that you guys are down there. We don't like the fact that you have to disconnect every 2 hours because you have to go and charge your phone up for 2 hours and then come back. We're sending you guys some money.
Wow.
Because we want, you know, just continuous footage, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. People were like just enjoying their coffees, their breakfast, dinner around the table with it on the big screen. And they sent us too much money because we just needed a power bank. And they sent us way too much money, so we told them to stop. We said, "Hey, stop! No, we got too much money now, like, and we don't know what to do with it. But we will use it to, make sure that we can bring something of quality." And so we bought ourselves a real flash gimbal to help out with that, and another power bank, and
Nice.
I
some
helped
other
out with
things.
travel to get there and back as well. Otherwise,
As
it was
well.
an hour each way.
Yeah,
Plus all the
right.
time down there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And so we did that, and then we got to meet you. I just on the fly, we're walking past each other, and then you walk past each other a few times, and then eventually you'd stop, and you get the gist of who's who in the zoo,
Yeah.
and you ask,
In the zoo.
you ask little questions. Where's a good spot for us to sit up? You just be honest with each other.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to the media side of things, in terms of what our role is now, we're not necessarily media. We're just basically doing what any human being should do, which is, if there's something wrong, we need to fix it. If we can't fix it, we need to put it out there so that other people can help, who specialise in fixing those types of things, can. And so that's what we see ourselves as. But it was amazing when I was linking up with you guys. I can't remember the other guy. There was another independent, and I don't know who he was, but he had the same kind of get up as you.
Yeah.
I didn't catch
there's
his.
quite a few.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning it was just at the beginning, right on that first police brutality line, it was just me, Dana, for Spin. At Weeks in News, maybe. There's a couple as well. There were a couple. American chick, and there was a taller guy. His name was Kiwi.
Yeah.
And there was just three of us, and then there was some other guy who had a GoPro on his head, on his chest, and on his hand.
Oh yeah, we know who that is.
Yeah.
But it was cool because we actually got to interact with people that had the same type of mindset. There was nothing that was left hidden. When I was asking questions in amongst the people that were taking media, anything, I would ask anything, and they would freely, happily give it. And I kind of like the idea that kind of helps to increase, our reach capability by providing something of higher quality, but it also encourages the people that I'm talking to, wow, they're doing that over there, maybe I need to kind of lift my game up a little here as well. It's like that free democracy within the media, and I was really enjoying that.
There was no competition. Everyone was just doing their thing and covered every angle, and I feel like because there were all of us doing it, there was nothing missed out. If someone didn't capture someone else, because someone else didn't, someone was there at that time doing something else, there was someone else that got it. It was amazing.
Yeah, there is no excuse whatsoever to wrongly accuse what happened down there. There is no angle that was left untouched. You have no excuse to just say, well, that's what the media printed, so no. Hundreds of thousands, millions of people were watching that footage. And
totally. Yeah, even one of the lives I had on that first brutality day, I hit up to almost 400,000 views. I mean, that's just mine. Imagine everyone else combined, literally millions of views. The whole world saw it.
Yeah. I mean, we were quite stoked when we got up to 100, babe? There's 100 people watching us at the moment, babe. But then that kind of increased, and not that we kind of cared about. I mean, it was exciting. But when we were down there, I mean, this is the reality of it, though, is that when we were down there, the other things that started to happen is it started to take a toll on our on us physically, but also on our relationship, because of the extreme measures that were put in place by the police. We were starting to ask each other before we left the house, which is not normal. Do you have your own keys? Because there's a possibility that only one of us will come home tonight and the other one will be released tomorrow, just for being a protest. And that added a lot of strain on us.
Well, we were there consistently, every day, overnight as well, just putting in the long hours, trying to do continuous feed, live feeds, so that we put that first above everything else.
If we had to do it again, and we will, we would definitely reprioritize things, and we have. So we have a faith, and we had noticed that had somehow ended up on the bottom of the priority list, and then our friends were above that, and then our marriage was above that. Actually, the marriage was kind of last, wasn't it? But then the protest
we were
became,
basically not talking very much, eh?
Yeah.
It
We
was
weren't.
just like everything was about the protest.
Everything was about the protest.
And when you're doing continuous lives and things, you can't talk.
You don't talk,
you know, freely.
Yeah.
And so if we had to do it again, and we've already got our priorities in place to make sure that when it does happen, you know, our faith always comes first, and then our marriage, and then our friends, and then whatever we're involved in.
Eating properly, getting enough
Eating
rest,
properly,
things like that.
sleeping properly, you know, saying no as
Yeah.
well, even though
that's a
things are
big
quite
one.
exciting. I
Your
mean,
anxiety levels are quite high, and you're like,
and we're old,
we
mate.
need to stay there. We need to stay there all night. When should we go home? Go have a shower.
We don't have your youthfulness to be able to do this continuously. Like, man, I need to be in bed by like 8 o'clock.
Oh, it's all the mind. You guys done amazing. Every angle that was there, you guys were there. You know, pumping it was great. It was really good. Yeah, and that's like you said. I think because it was the first time for all of us to even do that sort of thing. You know, I've been making vlogs for 2 years and all that, but there's nothing that's got me to the point where it was every day doing that, like you said, not having to rest and eat and get this angle and catch that, and you know the momentum of police attacking at any moment, and you know what I mean. It was just crazy, eh?
Even just the socialising.
Right?
You know, we've been isolated for so long. It's like you're talking to people all the time.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, meeting new people.
Yeah, without a 5 meters, there'll be someone else that says hello to you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. What were like some of the key elements for you? Like some parts that you were just like, wow, this is something I've never seen before, or you know, this is quite life changing for me, or you know, something you didn't expect to see that you when you first arrived, and you know, so there's just another protest, and yet ended up being in Freedom Village.
Well, you know, I'll go back to what I said at the start, organic. You know, the protest itself was organic, but even within that, how it just grew. Like, let's take one section, for instance, that I was kind of helping out with, and that is I eventually started helping out with the security team. And I had watched how that had grown from day 1 to day 2 to day 3. I think it was day 4 or 5, people were all of a sudden wearing vests. Now there's an admin tent, and now there's walkie-talkies, and now there's a system, now there's a roster. You know, just watching that, you know, it was like watching a society just being birthed out of nothing. And I think if there's any kind of hope that we have for our future, it's going to be our reliance on ourselves to be able to introduce these types of concepts, you know, like where we are not necessarily just stopped or hindered by red tape and regulations, to be able to just do common sense things, you know, like all these, you know. And here's another example, which is like health and safety, you know. Isn't that just gone over the top now, you know, like with the COVID-19 measures and the rules and stuff, you know, like what's the health and safety organisation again? They are
The who?
Pardon?
Who?
No. The health and safety is I think that's what they call New Zealand Health and Safety. But yeah, I mean, I was really just, that teared me up. You know, because I'm a systems guy. Like, my background's working in admin, specifically in sports.
Right.
So I'm all about systems, and that's one of the things that I really enjoyed, is like how people appropriated themselves, not only in the security team, the food tent also, and then you've got the other areas, the cleaners, the toilets. Then you had all these chippies building, you know, toilets and
Beehive, Shout out to you, Wade.
The music teams and that. And the other thing that I really enjoyed, but not a lot of people appreciated it the way that I did, was the differences that some of the, I guess you could call them leaders or people that were at the forefront, the differences that they had, and the agonising discussions that they had to put themselves through in order to come to some kind of consensus. I actually loved that. Even though there was a lot of hard words that were said and a lot of people were let down, it's so necessary. You know, in the democratic society, we need to be able to continually put ourselves in these vulnerable positions where we're not necessarily the only voice, that we take on other people's opinions, but we also still have the right to say, no, that idea sucks, you know? It's a stupid idea. And I think that's what's missing at the moment. But I don't know if those are the cool things that other people saw, but yeah, definitely what I saw that I really loved.
Amazing.
How about you, babe?
How about yourself?
Yeah, just it was surprising just how it all came together, and like you say, there was like a tent for everything, you know, medical tent and everything, which I needed at one point. Yeah, just it was just amazing, like just being self-sufficient, and the community that was built. It was a totally different environment.
Yeah, it was something that, as you mentioned, the perfect word, organic. It just grew like that. There was no plan for it. It just happened. Forget English. Miraculously. Or what do you? What's the word? I speak so many languages. I forget English. Honestly, it was just so beautiful. You know, it's just something that organic is definitely
It was rough. It was raw. You know, there were times where some things didn't work clearly, and you had to appreciate that. And the other side of that as well that I really found interesting is like how the spin was using that as a way to convey, these guys have all got different ideas, and having a different idea is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing. It's important. Otherwise we just end up being clones.
Well, that's it. You know, in terms of, perfect example of that is the religions that were there. You know, we had the Hare Krishnas as you walked in, and then I seen even Muslims there. We had Christians, Catholics. You know, we had priests there. We had sisters. I saw nuns. We had I don't know. I met a Jehovah's Witness. You know, and it's just anything in between. It was Buddhists as well. You know, and it's just like, wow. You know, and they all have obviously different point of views, and yet
Definitely.
You know, different journeys but on the same path. Yeah. And how about obviously the first day of the police brutality? How was that for you? Just to see that, was it quite normal, or was it something you didn't expect to see?
For me, it was quite. I was very anxious because I was actually working that day.
Right.
My wife was down there, and she'll give you more of an insight about how things were for her being there. But for me, being outside on that particular day working and viewing it, I don't know why I stayed out work. I wasn't actually working. I had 3 different cameras set up, watching your guys' footage, watching my wife's footage.
Somebody had to work.
Making sure that my wife is not going to get arrested. So it was very, like I assume people at home too were kind of like thinking, oh my gosh, this is heart-wrenching, what's going to happen here. But that was the first day.
Yeah, well, leading up to that, on the very first day when the trucks came in, I was there. When the convoy first came in, and there was a big police presence, although there weren't many people there. You know, there weren't many protesters at that point. And even from that first day, they sort of showed that they wanted to get rid of us. You know, some of them came down and they got a bit of pushback that first day from the protesters.
Yes.
So I was there to witness that, and I was like, that's already, a bit much, considering it was just not many people. And then, on that Thursday morning, I'd actually had a late start because I'd been there every day while he was working, and we were there at night too, but I was at home getting our tent ready and everything, so I didn't really know what was going on. And then he said, it's getting a bit, bit heated. So I went down there, and they were all the protesters were still in line. It was surreal. It was just, you could kind of feel it was going to lead up to that, but the brutality was unreal. So I missed the first arrest that happened, but I was still there when they were all in line. And then when they came down and on the other side and took the tents. Joe's auntie's tent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but didn't really expect the brutality. I mean, you could feel it leading up to that. From that first day, I felt this isn't right. This isn't New Zealand, the way they were behaving, and just there.
We knew from that day there was no way in
Yeah.
hell they were going to come down and talk.
No.
We knew that
No.
day, so we said, right, if we're going to be down there, we're going to have to expect that things are just going to get worse.
Yeah.
From that side of the fence, you know, like not within our own camp kind of thing, because it never did. I mean, you had the odd person that needed to be kind of escorted out because they were just too high or too drunk, and you know, and we were making sure that we were like getting that footage as well,
Yeah,
because
like,
we
right
wanted
in
to
there.
we wanted to be transparent to our network and say, hey, look, we just have to tell you that there are some desirables that are here, and also for the safety of the security team, you know, we're just going to film this whole kind of segment. But yeah, we knew they weren't going to come down and talk.
No.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
it's like,
right from day one, when the convoy came in, the attitude was like, you don't have any right to be here. We don't want you here. So.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I just seen it all happen, and and how it escalated until from that, and you know, them dropping the concrete blocks. And
Yeah.
was there any other times that you were there? And obviously before the last day.
hey, Clara,
Hi, you're right.
Hi.
oh, good.
I know the part you're talking about when they actually came through the side and they started taking out the tents and they
Yeah.
started forming a circle and all that, and then they actually got pushed back, didn't they? You remember when
Yeah.
people actually grabbed the railings and then they got squashed and like, oh, and then the guy who was in command, whoever, he's just looking like, oh, they didn't plan it too well, did they? I think because for them as well, it's also first time. You know, they haven't really done a lot of this before, have they? Because it's not something that New Zealand really deals with on a daily or weekly or even monthly or even
Unheard
yearly
of, eh?
basis. Yeah. You know, so
Because that's not how you treat humans, you know.
no, well, that's it.
That's how you treat criminals.
Exactly.
Because it'd be a different story if, you know, were there rioting. Because there's a difference
Yeah.
between rioting and protesting.
Mhm.
You know, were they, you know, going there throwing rocks or stones at the
Yeah.
Parliament House, or you
Yeah.
know, that's a whole other story. That's you're asking for trouble there. But the fact that just turn there with the signs, and you know, I guess we caused a bit of chaos, you know, parking up the vehicles there and
Yeah,
having a bit of a blockage. But
I think that was the only illegal aspect to it, was the permanent structures that were put in place. That was about it, really.
yeah,
There was nothing else. Oh, and then the old traffic.
yeah.
But really, you know,
But I mean, I
all
think
things considered,
well, that's it, right? I mean, people went to that extent for a reason because they've
Yeah.
been reached to a certain extent, so they're not
Yeah.
willing to lose
It's like
any
a
more.
last resort.
Right? Exactly. Because they
They're
literally
not listening, so.
yeah. They've lost everything they can, so why not?
Mm.
There's nothing else to lose, is there?
Yeah.
But the amazing thing is like they've done a rubbish job there, but now they're just continuing on that track, just doing rubbish job throughout the whole country now. You know, like with our finances and our food and everything. They're doing just a rubbish job of it, and people are still okay with that. You know, it's I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get how people can't see that the cause of all of these things, our economy crashing and all that, it's all for one reason. You know, it's the people that are in charge of that.
Yeah.
But yet they want to go and point fingers overseas and, you know, point fingers at past presidents and, you know, blame it on everything else except for the decisions that they have to make on our behalf. You know, they can't just own up to it. The fact that they could have resolved that whole protest before it escalated by just coming down to talk.
A bit of a corridor, eh?
But that would involve them having to be open to hearing the opinions of other people and also hearing the truth of what is actually happening on the ground level. You know, it's not everything that your experts are claiming it is. You know, this is how it is really. Like, you know, unvaccinated people, they're actually just getting on with their lives. They haven't made any kind of other, you know, like they haven't made any changes to like go about their ordinary lives, and they're not dying. You know, they just want to get on with it, and you guys have had your shots now, so can we all just get on with it? No, they don't want to talk about that.
What was your favourite food tent? Was this a particular place you'd always go and eat, or?
I'll tell you something funny. First got down there, right? Man, barbecue, sausages. I'm in there.
Yeah.
Day one, yeah, lunch, dinner. I'm all good, babe. Thank you. I've got me a sausage. Day two, right? Man, sausages. Here we go again. Day three, right? Day three, I was like, ooh, might have might have a sausage, you know, and then you still got to try and be grateful about it. But there was a lot of other food that was available as well. But I just thought that was quite funny because I was like, yeah, sausages, yeah, more sausages, no more sausages.
But you had to queue for it as well, so we didn't always have time to, you know, our guys had to push in and like quickly grab something on the run.
Yeah.
So
there were two main
food there,
yeah, there were two main tents, right? There was the main food tent, then there was Papa Wune's food tent, and then the Hare Krishnas. We didn't get to taste the Hare Krishna ones because the line was
always cute.
Yeah. We'd walk past and try and like pretend like we had like VIP passes. You know, we just wanted to like just see what kind of reaction we would get from people waiting in line, and it was quite. They took the humour, and they would say, "Yeah, just jump in line." We said, and my wife, she's terrible. She was mean.
I lived on his bars and bananas. It's like whenever I could just grab and eat.
Whereas I'm more like, no, babe, we're not special. Like we're just gonna jump in the back like everybody else. We're just ordinary people. Yeah. Although we were working quite hard. Yeah. I think the favourite food for me was the fact that they had a variety of different types of sandwiches as well.
Yeah, they did sometimes.
And what was it? That curry. The curry. Mine was the curry. I think I had curry chicken. And it wasn't like just it was packed. I mean, I'm a big eater, but I had to like.
Yeah, it was a decent
I had to try hard.
meal.
That's good, eh? Yeah, no, I know the feeling, same as me. It's just sometimes because I was just so busy, and I looked at the time, I was like, I haven't eaten anything in about 10 hours or something, you know. And so you go in there, and sometimes I already made friends. So, oh yeah, here you go, just got a meal for you. Yeah, sweet. Yeah. And later they actually realised that there was people like us that were doing things, and obviously security guards and medics, and there was actually guys who would actually, you probably eventually saw, they grabbed a box and started actually serving plates out. Yeah. And that's when they actually stopped. Hey man, like I'm just meeting. Oh yeah, no worries. Like yeah. I kind of felt bad, but at the same time I don't because I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah, literally, right?
Yeah.
So
okay.
It's
kind of, we didn't have the energy to cook or anything.
Yeah.
It was like no.
It wasn't, yeah, exactly.
There was a few times we went past and we were just on the go and we just like, dude, can we grab that? And then then the lady or the man would just like look to the side and it's like, I don't see anything. Like, so sweet, thank you.
Yeah.
But nobody was like kind of getting all angry about.
No, never had a problem.
You know, I think I saw a few people push in the line and people were just quite accepting of that. I mean, they thought that it was rude. But there was no real reason for them to like be aggressive about it because they were going to get free food anyway.
Yeah.
And it was only one person jumping in the line, and
that was good, eh? And that was the most beautiful thing there. It's you know, apart from like you said, people they were getting kicked out because they were drinking or they were smoking and whatever. And but apart from that, it was so peaceful, wasn't it? How peaceful was it? When's the last time you felt like a place like that, apart from your own home or your family home or a friend's house, that it was just
like
so
safe.
Peaceful? And
just stay there overnight
and with a bunch of strangers, right?
Yeah.
We walked around crying for 3 days. The first 3 days, it just everywhere we went, we were just tearing up. You know, because we were just watching people just.
Hopefully, tears of joy.
Yeah, they did. They were, they were. Like we were just watching old people being stopped by like these, you know, just like young street kids, and just, who are you? Like, where are you from? Why are you here? You know, asking all these questions. And not only would they ask them the questions, they would sit and actually listen to them, and that's what really got me. I was like, man, when was the last time I felt something like that? I don't think it's actually. I think it's been a long, long time since I've seen something like that. Back in my youth, you know, I grew up on the marae, and that's what it reminded me of, like a big village or community.
And you don't get that in a public space.
No.
Like that be a marae or a church or a family environment or with friends, but not in a public space. Like,
even now you don't get that. I know back home, like people kind of stay within their own little circles. They have their own little cliques, but at this particular protest, everybody was just talking with everyone. It was crazy fun. Some of the conversations that I'd be having with a person that you know, because I like trying to guess what people do, and I totally guessed this dude wrong. I was like, oh, he's probably like you know, like you have fun in your head. It's like, oh, yeah, he's probably a council worker. You know, he probably like is used to like picking up rubbish and stuff like that. and I saw this dude walking past and he was doing 100 different jobs. So I was like, oh, yeah, no, he knows what he's doing. He's definitely like a council worker, because he was working on the rubbish before. Now he's tying some big massive like bins together. So I asked him, hey dude, you look really busy, but do you mind if I just ask you, like, I wasn't filming, I said, I've just been admiring the amount of effort you've been putting into your mahi. Pākehā whalarai, this dude. I said, what do you do? And he said, I'm actually an English teacher. I said, you're kidding me, mate. He said, no, I'm a qualified English teacher.
Wow.
And I teach at secondary school level. But since I've lost my job, and since I'm here now, I'm just going to put my hand to the plough. Just whatever needs to be done, I'll get it done.
Wow.
Yeah, people like that, and then business owners as well, you know, saw them carrying around boxes like you were saying, you know, just getting trays out from the van and loading it into the tent. And I asked these dudes, what do you do? And this guy said, I own a practitioner company, and I have 200?
Yeah.
200 staff.
Wow.
And I have four places that they operate from, and he had to let all of them go. Yeah, I said, wow, that's huge. And I said, why did you do that? And he said, because he couldn't see how it would be right for him to only let some of his workers go to work and let others not. And he didn't want to force any of them to make that kind of a decision. I didn't think that was the right decision, in my view, but it was obviously something that he saw, based on his morals, needed to be followed through.
Yeah.
You know,
Amazing.
people made some huge sacrifices being there, even ourselves. We lost 5 jobs in total throughout the course of the past 2 years because of the various mandates that were coming through, and also being cancelled from one job as well. We just got some backlash from a post that went viral. It got transpired back through to a couple of the school principals that I was contracting with, and they said, we can't have him at our school or in our society because he is a danger to society for not wearing a mask.
You dangerous man.
I know. I think it's more because I had her on my side.
Yeah. That's it.
He's fine. It's
Yeah.
her.
Oh, beautiful. That's so amazing. Eh? And you're so right. Judging the book by its cover, eh? It was something so different there, because everyone was doing something that was pretty much out of the element.
Yeah. It was fun. It was a fun little game that I like doing, you know. And had elderly people as well that were still working. It's like, what are you doing here? I said, well, I'm actually a full-time nurse.
Yeah.
You're kidding me? Like, and then one was a doctor, and I was like, holy cow! Like, but when we were in amongst each other, right, you didn't sense that. Like, you didn't sense somebody's
Superiority.
Yeah, you didn't sense somebody's kind of like their how they like appropriated themselves was more about what they were doing at the time, rather than who they are or what they've done. You know, I was like, what are you doing right now? You know, like that was more important to everyone.
It was everyone putting the mahi and all in together like this.
Yeah.
There's no you without me. That's what I say. You know, and there's a little one missing. It's not as strong. The minute we're all together, it's like this.
Yeah, that's how you got to hold the line too, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
I appreciated that guy saying that.
And you know, obviously you had an amazing time. You saw the beautiful people, beautiful moments. How was it on the last day? You guys were there as well? Yeah.
We'd stayed the night before.
Right.
We were actually sick for 3 days prior to that, so we were very sick at home, and we were trying to recover as best as we could. We had the sniffles, and so we just used a bit of common sense, and we got the sniffles. Let's just stay home. There's some elderly people down there. We care about them. You know, we don't want them to get sick as well.
Yeah.
You know, obviously everybody needs to enjoy themselves, so we just thought, well, we'll just stay home. And it was the night before Leighton got onto his social media, and just the way that he said you need to come.
Yeah.
You need to come to everyone. And so I turned to my wife and said, we've got to go.
Yeah.
So we just packed up our stuff,
10 o'clock at
went
night,
down,
headed down there.
hit 10 o'clock, we walked down and bunkered in, and then we stayed up until, must have been midnight.
Oh, it was later than that.
Oh,
Like
no, it
maybe
was about 2 in the morning.
Wow.
We decided to
We
stay
didn't get
up.
much sleep.
and nothing eventuated. And then 6 o'clock in the morning we all woke up, but
To the helicopters.
to the helicopters. But over the course of that day, it was about for us. It was about just not getting arrested, basically.
Yeah.
Like things were just developing as they were developing, and we had no control over it. And I don't think anybody felt the same as well. I think most people felt like there was nothing that we were going to be able to do to stop the pushback. Obviously there were some that could see that it could work, but the majority of us were thinking, oh no, not with the amount of squads we're seeing now.
No.
This is it.
Yeah.
And so the mentality that we took was to like, okay, well, if this is it, then we have to assume a more of a objective type of role, because obviously there's going to be enough media on the inside that's going to be working the ground to make sure that there's coverage everywhere. So we decided to go outside and to start engaging ourselves with the police early, and just get some kind of reference as to how they were trying to were they trying to gear themselves up to just be a defensive kind of line, in the defensive line, or were they actually prepared to like just go in and crash? And so based on conversations that we had with them, we could see that they just meant business.
Because initially we thought that maybe we're coming to remove the toilets, because a few days prior they removed the showers.
That's right, yeah.
So that was our first thought. It's like, okay, so what are they going to do? So we went around the outskirts and then we ended up moving around to Hill Street, and we got blocked out of the Parliament grounds at that point.
And then we found a way back in, Catherine Shepherd's Road or something.
Yeah,
we came back and we joined everyone else, and then I suppose it was just hours, right? Hours of just watching all of the pressure points that they were using. So up on Hill Street, and then the one down by the toilets, those were the two dominant ones. And then we got ourselves in a bit of a pickle because we didn't charge our cell phone, so Tasha had to go back home. Eventually she went back home, she didn't want to leave me. Tasha had to go back home.
I was there right up until the point where just before they came, they were gearing themselves up to come into the grounds. So they'd cleared out all around the outsides, around Molesworth Street, and I thought there'd be a bit of a lull, which there was. I was gone for a couple of hours, and then I checked my phone because I was still waiting for everything to charge up, which was taking too long. I checked my phone, I saw them all coming down from the front and tear gas and everything. I was like, oh, I can't wait, I have to go now. So raced back down.
And then when she came back, she found me covered in blood.
Yeah.
So I was standing next to Leighton.
Right.
During the that was when they came down towards the admin tent. So I saw Leighton and I thought, well, I've seen a couple of his videos. He's going to be the safest place to be, because he said it in his last videos. Like, I'm at the safest place, kind of thing. So I'll go to Leighton. So I parked up next to Leighton, and then I ended up blood all over my face, tear gas in my eyes, and pepper sprayed. And then a bit later on too, I get shot.
Yeah. Wow.
So it was crazy. So
you got the full combo.
Leighton Baker, never gonna stand next to you.
It was a Trojan horse idea.
It was. But you know what? He got arrested, and he just happened to be in the same cell as one of my boys. I interviewed him yesterday, and he said he was quite. He said his words were. He was quite humbled by how Leighton was with the boys. There was about 30 of them, something like that. They were in the cells together, and he just was just normal and just cracked a joke and talked about, is there going to be bickies here soon or something? But yeah, the actual protest itself, it was very terrifying towards the end, because the logistics started to set in my head, and I was just watching. I could tell, I'm really good at reading people. I was like, they're from out of town. Holy cow, she's got kids and not just kids, she's got babies, and she's just wondering, that old lady over there, she's from out of town as well, because you can just tell they were just very distraught. All of their goods and that was just trash, taken away, no place to sleep. Started to realise that the admin crew was starting to scramble to find all these people, and that's what I really did not like about that, is that the police didn't, even though they had systematically injected themselves into that protest the way they did, they didn't take the casualties into any type of account. They didn't. They should have taken that into account. You know, the elderly people, they should have had some support system in place, or like the likes of, you know, the local supports groups readily available to accommodate those people.
Yeah, they were left stranded, kids, and
because they were trash. That's what they think, eh? They think
well,
we're
they
just
had
filth.
their vehicles were taken, all their like their tents and all their possessions. They had no clothes.
Everything was just gone.
Yeah.
Just sweep up clean.
So they were just left on the streets, trying to find ways.
That was the real
places
sad
to
part,
stay,
is watching that community and the way that they were just so free and so happy and so joyful to be in amongst each other, just be teared away from them, and then to be left, you know, homeless, without clothing, you know, without vehicles, without food, you know, the small things like that. We tried to get home straight after it by catching an Uber. The guy said, "Oh, where you going?" Oh, he said, "Oh, where did you just come from?" And we were in the car ready to go. He said, "Oh, we just came from the protest." You know, be honest with him. He said, "I can't take you. You have to get out."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we had to walk home.
So
Get a scooter.
yeah, so we scrapped that. We had quite a lot of belongings, and we kind of walked a bit of it, and then we done a what do you call it when you double up on a bike or a scooter?
Jumped on the back of the scooter.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to carry the sick bag and everything. What we managed to rescue from our tent that got thrown in fire.
Kind of went home, you know, and you know, part of us wanted to, you know, be able to like bring people here, but just out of respect for, because we share this property as well, we didn't want to, and we haven't done that with any of our guests actually, like even our own family and stuff like that. We're very mindful of the fact that they've got children, and we don't want to cause any type of rift. So
of course,
it was kind of hard for us to do that too.
We're renting as well.
Yeah, I can feel it within you guys. It was quite a heavy energy, eh? And I guess even the days onwards after that would have been quite traumatic still, eh?
Today.
Yeah.
And you were going out to the bay and stuff.
Yeah, so after it, I
animals.
went out to help out with the team that was out Mahanga Bay to just ensure that whatever I could do to help those that were involved with the protests were looked after, and managed to link them up with the admin tent. And the admin tent took over from there. I think it was after day 3, and also had a cordial with the some of the strategic team from Shelley Bay. Obviously they've got their own kaupapa in terms of what they're trying to do there, and so they just wanted me to just know that they're trying to keep those two things separate, and that the people at Mahanga Bay were to kind of remain there, not be a part of their protest that they've been kind of like doing for the past 2 years. So yeah, and then after that it was like an emptiness though. It was really like an emptiness. It was like
We had no more work to
like
go
the
back
best. It was like the best. It was like the best family reunion you've ever been to in your whole life.
Yeah.
And then after that, you get put back into a community that just doesn't want you.
No.
And so it's just huge contrast. And so now we've got into the habit of just minding our own business. We've been attending, you know, the odd skirmish here and there. We are looking to get in amongst just everyday public people from the public, and just have conversations with them, rather than kind of attend huge mass events.
Yeah, it's I guess a painful process to go through, and at the end, I think it's been good, because you know they may have taken the Freedom Village down, but the fire just started, hasn't it? And everyone now, I feel it was the centre of the country to network, and I feel we've just
the resolve from that particular protest is off the charts with each individual that was there. Like, I can tell that those people went home different because they knew, like, oh, it's not just me, and it's okay that I think the way that I think, and in fact I need to like be a bit more powerful about how I use that in my everyday life. Therefore I'm going to just stand up for the silly little things. You know, like, no, I don't want to wear a mask. You know, I don't want to like show you anything. I'm fine. You know.
And for years, I think a lot of people there, what I got was they thought they were alone, and I think they really think that now. And it's also spread a new variant called freedom. People I see, even hearing stories, people would turn up to the cafes and they won't be the only one without a mask now, and it's starting to come into the sort of numbers. People going, no, I've had enough. Enough is enough, and stand their ground, as you say.
One of the takeaways from the protest was I had 3 of my own personal friends get in touch with me that were not necessarily pro-vax, but they had to get vaccinated, and they said, bro, we want to come down, check it out, do you mind if you take us for a guide? And I am going to wear a mask. I said, bro, please wear your mask, if that's what makes you comfortable, and I'll be more than happy to show you around. Let's go for a haircut just so you can see it for yourself. And then I had one of my brothers, or my close friends, come and sit down next to me. He said, bro, I've got some tough decisions to make. Do I feed my family, or do I get the second vaccine? Because I've already had the first one, but I'm over it. And and I really wanted to like explain to him like our thought processes, for us that are freedom thinkers. It's like, bro, you have tough decisions to make, but they are your decisions to make, and at the end of the day you're going to have to do what's best for you and best for your family. And that's what I wanted to like tell them. So I'm not going to tell you what the opposite of what the government is trying to tell you, because that would just be the same thing to think for you, but just to let them know, like, you've got some tough decisions to make.
The options are out there, but they're not easy.
They're not easy, and it's not easy, and we're saying, people have lost things, and it's not easy, but what we've gained from it, man, so powerful. It's that resolve to know that we don't have to be dependent on a government system to be able to provide for us the simple means of just living together. Because that's where the overreach is. It's in the simplicity of making our own decisions for ourselves. They've tried to come in and try to say, hey, you're not grown up enough to know what you need to do to keep yourself safe. Here's a whole list of rules that'll help keep you safe. And we're like, well, actually, it's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And they don't like it, right?
No.
They don't like it when we kind of inject a bit of like spunk into our our casual way of like thinking. They think it's a danger to society.
Definitely. And what would you say your biggest take back as well was from all of that?
Just reaffirm my belief that we need to be more self-sufficient. We do need communities, we do need to, I would love to be out of the city and living off grid and things like that, you know. It's not something that we're doing at the moment, but if you can do it, like, it's definitely the way to go.
Cool. And where to in the future? Is that where you think that's where we should be heading? Off-grid,
I think there'll be
building?
a necessity, to have people around you and have a community and all pulling your resources together and looking after each other, that'll be a necessity. They want people living in the cities. They don't want you to grow your own gardens and, I just think it's heading that way.
And it'll be exciting, it'll be organic, it'll be rough, it'll be hard. Everything that we actually embrace, that we're looking forward to. I think these movies, these end-time movies don't do it any kind of justice. I think what we're going to experience in the later days, or the days coming, is that we're going to have to work extra hard for each other, but we want to, because if that means that it allows me to have some kind of value because I've helped someone else out, definitely I want to do that. I want to help someone else out, so I feel good about myself. I want to be able to inject my skills and my experience into one life, or a young person, so that I can help watch him develop as well, because I enjoy that, and I think everybody wants that. So I think for us, like what you've been doing, is going around, surveying all the different communities out there. I think we're eventually going to find ourselves one. At the moment we're here, we've got some work to finish off in terms of in terms of my profession, what I do, and once we finish that up, we'll find ourselves a community.
Awesome. How sounds good. And what's your one message from here in Aotearoa to the rest of the nation, maybe to the rest of the world?
Yeah, I have a specific one, and I always try to reach out to my fellow Christian brothers, those that have been subjected to this type of narcissism from our government. It's okay to it's okay to think that it's wrong. You know, at least give it that benefit of the doubt that it could possibly be wrong the way everything has been introduced. And there's no need for me to quote Bible scriptures to you, but it is actually quite common knowledge as well that the amount of different prophecies that have unfolded are all pointing towards the actual position that we're in right now as foretold. So to my fellow Christian brothers, if you're not on board as yet, that's okay. I don't want to hate you or anything like that, but you do have to know the position that we're in. Every man has a decision to make for himself, and that decision is yours as well, and how you appropriate yourself in these end days is going to reflect into eternity. And for myself, I want to run into eternity knowing that I gave it my best shot. You know, in the end times I want to do my family proud, those that passed away, but also those that are coming in. So yeah, a message there for my Christian friends.
Awesome. And yourself?
Yeah, I just think now's the time to make a stand, and don't take your freedom for granted. Freedom comes at a cost. You just have to count the costs. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. You guys have been awesome.
Sweet, man.
Nice getting to know you. And,
yeah, bro.
And so where we can find you, you're on several platforms, or?
Yeah, we don't know what we're doing, so we're just operating from our personal platform.
Cool.
But you can find us, Louis will probably flick a link down to our Facebook page.
I definitely will, yeah.
And we're quite happy, you know, it's a public page. Well, is that how you say it? It's open to the public.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, you'll be able to get an idea on what we're about as well in terms of our belief systems, but not only that, some of the fun things that we enjoy, which is like answering trolls. So yeah, we received 7,000 comments on one particular post, and 95% of them were very, very gross, and was right up my alley because I'm quite dark in the way that I think. Well, it's a dark world that we live in, so and I like to live in the truth of it, and so but it allows me to use the full capacity of my awareness. You know, I'm not limited to saying everything PC. You know, I'm not limited to just being the nice shiny Christian boy.
No filter.
Yeah, I know who I am. That's fine. And yeah, I'm going to use this word because it's just a word, and I don't care if it offends you or not. But yeah, you can find us there.
Nice, good on you. Awesome. All right. Well, best of luck for the future, and we'll see you around, eh?
Sweet, Louis. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah,
no worries.
Come and see us. Everything you do too, bro. Thank you so much.
Thanks, eh? See you guys.